The strength exercise that I chose to perform is the back squat. Simply put, it is a classic multi-joint movement that targets a variety of muscle groups throughout your body, emphasizing those that extend your hip and your knee joints. In this exercise, there are concentric and eccentric contractions. Concentric contractions cause muscles to shorten, generating a force to overcome resistance, while eccentric contractions elongate. The resistance is gathered and the force is generated. In the eccentric or downward movement phase of your squat, you begin in a beginning stance where your spine contracts isometrically, allowing for an optimal range of motion. Lift your elbows to create a shelf for the bar to rest on. Mentally think about pinching your shoulder blades together. By keeping a proud chest, you also engage your abdominal muscles at the beginning of your squat. You also maintain a shoulder width stance with feet rotated slightly outwards. Your hamstrings are one of the first muscles to activate since they help the gluteus maximus with hip extension at the start of the exercise. The break at the hips in a sit backwards motion activates your gluteus maximus as well as your quadriceps. As you allow your hips to slowly flex while keeping a proud chest, your quadriceps, which are your primary knee extensors, activate, increasing the angle between your lower body and upper legs, contracting eccentrically during the downward movement phase. Continue lowering to reach an approximate 45-degree angle, ensuring that your knees do not track forward over your toes or collapse inwards. Maintain a flat back, elbows high, and a proud chest. Do not flex your torso or round your back. Continue flexing your hips and knees joints until your quadriceps are parallel to the floor. Make sure that your heels do not lose contact with the ground by putting all of your weight from your toes onto the balls of your feet. Once in the squat position, you transition into your concentric phase. Your hamstrings activate as your hip and knee joints begin to extend, while your ankle transitions from a dorsiflexion to a plantar flexion position. Muscles around the hip now contract concentrically, providing the power to return to the beginning stance of the exercise. Your quadriceps then once again activate, pulling the gluteus maximus inward. This action initiates the hip joint to thrust your hips forward in a concentric movement. All of these steps are occurring while steady shelf and a proud chest are maintained. The weight from your bar is still kept on the balls of your feet as you reach a fully extended position, with knee joints still slightly flexed. My next step in technique refinement is focusing on the cues that I need to work on, which are maintaining a proud chest and resisting the collapse of my knees during the exercise. My low flexibility makes maintaining all of these cues difficult, especially when doing an increased number of repetitions. I can achieve the refinement by keeping a mental note of these cues and focusing on lowering my weight to allow for an increased number of repetitions. The more practice, the easier the movements will be, allowing me to increase the load while having proper form. To enhance my performance or progressing the skill is repetition. Practice makes perfect. I believe that practicing and doing this exercise more often will help me become more efficient and better equipped to handle this exercise with larger loads with more experience. Having skill analysis and video for performance athlete is very important because sometimes understanding where you went wrong is not always enough to capture the real error of your mistake. By having video and skill analysis, you are able to see yourself from a coach's perspective. Identifying the issue and visually seeing how to correct it almost acts as a mental note when performing the exercise. Think about this. If an athlete continues to repeat the mistake, it can turn into a bad habit, making it harder to fix later on in his or her career. Also, the work done to help strengthen you in your sport translates over. Having a mental picture painted in your mind acts as a mental cue to help athletes learn and grow from their mistakes to be better athletes.